The next category of formulas are date and time functions, and for this short summary I've chosen some of them to show their applications. But before we start, we need to understand how Excel treats the dates. You can check it using the value formula applied to the A2 cell that will give us an integer that represents the date. First day that you can find in Excel, if we apply the short date formatting, is the 1st of January 1900, and every following date increases this number by 1. The other way to do it is to just create a formula equal, and then instead of date format we can apply the general formatting and we will get exactly the same result. What if we have not only the date but also the time? The time is represented by the fraction of the decimal number. Reporting usually is based on some periods, and we can extract basic time dimensions by using several formulas like year, like month, and like day. If you'd like to get to know what is the weekday of the date, you have the following formula, which not only takes the date but also requires defining the second argument. If you omit it, you would treat Sunday as the first day of the week and Saturday as the last day of the week. In Poland, we usually add number 2 as the second argument to indicate that the week starts from Monday and it ends on Sunday. Number 4 means Thursday. If you have a correct date in your cell, you can easily turn it into some kind of text that will replace the numbers in the date. For example, the text formula can take the text from the date and apply 4 times D like day formatting to reach the day's name. Similarly, if you would like to get the full name of the month, you would apply 4 times M for month as a format text, and after you hit enter, you will get the month name. If you just limit yourself to 2 characters, you can get something that is very often useful on the reports, which means 2-digit symbol of a month. If you would like to subtract days, you can just use the math operation minus and it would work. Let's have a look on the example of 29th of February minus the 14th of February 1 year earlier. The result would be the number of dates. But our case is a bit more complicated because the starting date is not available in Excel. So in this scenario, you can use the date formula and define the date just by inserting all of the parameters necessary for the date, minus the A11 cell. Sometimes you get the result as a date that is not expected and unnecessary, but then you can bring back the formatting to general or to number and you replace the date with an integer. If you would like to perform this operation in a more safe mode, you can use the days formula, which accepts as the first argument the end date. In our case, this is 2019 February and 16, and as the second argument you just apply this cell. The results should be the same. To get the information how old is something, you can use the formula today that does not need any arguments inside, so we need to close the bracket, minus the starting date. Once again, we get the result as the date, but we can change it to general. The same applies to the now formula that returns the date and the current time, and you can use it to calculate how much time passed. And there is one specific format that can be applied in here, since if you take just the time, you will see that it looks like 6 hours, although it was 1.5 years. So if you would like to see the result as a total hour, you can change the format to a custom one with hours in square bracket. and this gives you the total number of hours. You can expect many more formulas also touching the time, so if you would like to guess what was just the hour, you can use this formula to get an integer out of time. The beginning of the month is always the first day, but the last day of the month can be different. So to make it easier for us to find the last day of the month, we can use the EO month, like end of month formula, that will take the date and will make the last day of the month of it. If you want to stay in the same month, you just enter 0 and you will get the last day of the same month, but you can move it back and you can move it also forward by using plus and minus numbers. You can also see that whenever I hit enter now, both of the formulas today and now recalculate themselves as they are dynamic, and whenever we refresh anything in the workbook, they will recalculate now. Sometimes you'd like to know what kind of date will you reach in exactly 1 year or in exactly n months. And for this kind of scenario, because we have some kind of leap years and it's hard to add just the number of days like 365 or 366, we have a formula that is called eDate that can take your date and add specific number of months forward or backward. In our case, we will add exactly 1 year, and when we copy the formula down, you can see that in the year 2020 we had a leap year, but the last possible day for February in 2021 is the 28th. If you would like to use the calculation based on working days, net work days is the formula you are looking for. In the net work days formula, you start from some kind of data point and then you go to the end date, like in our case, this is the New Year's Eve of 2019. And when you close the bracket and hit enter, Excel automatically excludes weekends. This formula can be very similar, but as the third argument, it can also take your holiday lists. We have the holiday list prepared in the second worksheet, and when we supply the formula with something like this, we can exclude the holidays. The second scenario is when you are not interested in the number of working days, but you are looking for a specific date in, for example, 100 working days. Then you need to move the date to the future, but including the holidays. So you can find the workday formula that can take you from the start date some amount of dates to the future, and you can once again include the list of holidays. And when you close it, you will get the date in 100 working days. Dates very often cause problems because in different countries, in different IT systems, they can be written with hundreds of formats. On daily basis, I don't work a lot with dates in normal Excel, since I use a lot of Power Query that you can find on the Data tab under Get Data, and I'm talking about Power Query in a separate course. But in here we can try to fight a bit with different formats of dates using normal Excel. And there is one formula that you need to know that might save your time, which is date value. It uses your local settings of Windows, which means I won't show you the example on the English names, but on the Polish names. And when I hit enter, in some of cases, you might really quickly get some kind of date. If your date includes the year, you will reach that, but if it doesn't, you can see that Excel takes the current year date and supplies your date with that. It won't solve all of your problems, and the only very precise solution that I know is Power Query, but the date value formula might be useful in some of the cases. But please keep in mind that it might not recognize all of the texts, and what is more, you should have dates that happened on at least 1st January of the year 1900. The last part of this exercise is maybe not connected to formulas, but might be useful in case of reporting. And the first exercise, we need to fill the date until the January 10th. You just drag and drop the bottom right corner of the cell and check whether it works. Not so many Excel users know that you can do exactly the same by using the right mouse button, and when you move it with your right button, you will get another drop-down menu where you can set let's fill it with months. Similarly, you can do it with years, or you can do it only with working days. Like, let's select something and say fill only with weekdays, so excluding weekends. And if we would like to copy just the dates down, probably Excel will guess that we would like to create a series, but we can select this option from the second drop down. Things that we have done in here can be found in a more automated way under Series on the Home tab, where you have many more options on filling the dates, and not only.